Warm up those tanning beds, movie fans, because it's time to discuss the latest Diablo Cody film that has hit the big screen, and that is Lisa Frankenstein. And if I could paraphrase the great Alice Cooper, it's time to feed my Frankenstein. A coming-of-age love story about a teenager and her crush who happens to be a corpse. After a set of horrific circumstances brings him back to life, the two embark on a journey to find love, happiness, and of course, a few missing body parts. Lisa Frankenstein is directed by Zelda Williams, and it's an hour and 41 minutes long, and it is rated PG-13 for the scenes of violence, and they're pretty graphic at times, and we'll discuss some of those moments because those are pretty cool. Before I jump into my thoughts and the discussion pieces here, let's make sure you guys leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below so we have a lively conversation down there. And I really want to direct this conversation to a point that this movie might not work for everybody, but I think there is some stuff to like about it to probably push it into kind of cult classic status. While not being a perfect movie by any means, I think this movie is kind of a typical Diablo Cody film, where it has really good dialogue, some interesting characters, and even though it's flawed at times, it does have a pacing issue as well, but it's never boring to look at. I think that is something I could definitely take away there. It reminded me quite a bit of Jennifer's Body, with two really big actresses in that film with Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried. In this film, we do get two recognizable faces with Kathryn Newton as Lisa and Cole Sprouse as the creature, the love interest here, as you do. And being kind of a Frankenstein-esque film, I'm always reminded of how much I kind of enjoy these movies. I'm a big fan of the OG Boris Karloff Frankenstein film. It's one of my top 100 movies of all time. So I get kind of excited, especially when you see the name Frankenstein onto things. Young Frankenstein being another film that is classic Frankenstein cinema. While Lisa Frankenstein is having maybe big shoes to fill, it does a decent job kind of delivering some really fun moments here. And the biggest thing that I really enjoyed was the chemistry between Kathryn Newton and Cole Sprouse. Well, Cole Sprouse is kind of mute the entire film, which is maybe a detriment to that actor's talents, but he is able to and at least emote his emotions in a way that you can totally understand what he is saying without him even saying a word. Now, Kathryn Newton does deliver this dialogue that Cody provides her really seamlessly, and there's some really fun moments and quips for her to kind of stand out above the rest of the cast here. I couldn't help but draw a comparison to maybe a Molly Ringwald here from 80s, because this film is very kind of homage to 80s films and kind of the fun nature of those movies. There's definitely a lot of 80s songs, and it takes place in the 80s, for crying out loud, so it's hard not to think Molly Ringwald when you see a teenage high school film. Now, the character of Lisa isn't just like a fun-loving character that just has fun little dialogues here and there. She has some dark past and some skeletons in the closet with the murder of her mother, and also kind of the weird relationship with her stepmother Janet, who is played by Carla Gugino, and she's kind of weird in this movie. It's very not really an interesting performance from her, which she's normally a really talented actress, so that's kind of maybe a negative for me on this screenplay here. But we also have a really kind of interesting relationship with this stepsister Taffy, who I actually think is the standout for me in this cast, because I really wanted to see more from her, and she is played by Liza Soberano. While I do like comedies where I can laugh at some of the dialogue the characters do deliver, I came into this film with the promise of having some violence here too, and the violence is really entertaining at times. Of course, the reason why the violence does have to happen is because we're trying to make the creature, the love interest played by Cole Sprouse here, be more like a human being, because he wants to have this relationship with Lisa, and they do want to have this relationship. So seeing him try to take body parts off other people, it's hard not to like and to have a fun laugh about. While not as over the top as the Jennifer's Body, there is some fun moments to be had with these murders and these deaths here. One specifically in a bedroom near the end of the film, it had me kind of really laughing out loud, because it is kind of over ridiculous, especially when we find out where it goes at the very end as well. So definitely check out for that one and let me know what you think. While these moments of bring laughter and are a lot of fun, there is some weird pacing issues, and I do want to address that. It's not perfect at all, and I really enjoyed Cody's writing for the most part, but there is some really sloshy scenes in this movie where it is kind of boring, to be honest with you. The scenes with anytime when Lisa interacts with her father, her stepmother, and how do you mess up Carla Gugino here? She's so uninteresting and unlikable here as well. I get she's kind of like the evil stepmother here, but like she was in there and kind of wasted here, and I just didn't care for any interaction with the stepmother. There's also some other kids at the high school too that are just kind of are in there, and there's reasons why they come up later, but none of the other like friends characters were really entertaining. There's some like sexual stuff that does happen at the beginning here that's just like kind of felt out of place for me, and they were, you can tell they're trying to be funny with some stuff, but some of the jokes just don't land all the time. The first 30 minutes were kind of in a way a chore. Once we got past that, it became a little more entertaining and palatable for me to enjoy this movie. But it did take some work to get there for me, and maybe it's because it's paced and how oddly timed this movie feels that it's going to hinder some people. And I've heard, it's not just me thinking that, I've seen other people that I really value their opinion say that the first 30 minutes are really kind of a slog to get through. And there's people that didn't even like Kathryn Newton's performance as much as I did. And so that's interesting to see the kind of spectrum of opinions on this movie. I know a lot of people really liked the movie as well, which is, I'm glad. And again, I feel like I just said this a couple weeks ago with Argyle. There's people that really do like that movie, but there's also people that just are completely bashing on it. Well, I find like I enjoyed Lisa Frankenstein more than the previous mentioned film. It's primarily because of Cody's dialogue and the characters she's able to create in it. And while it's visually never boring, the dialogue is, and how paced it is as well. I wanted a little bit more from this film, quite honestly, where I kind of wanted them to push the boundaries and maybe see if we can go to rated R. But again, we don't get a whole lot of the big kind of maybe implied from the advertising like kills or something like that in this movie. And maybe that's my expectations, expecting that to happen. But I wanted a little bit more from the movie. I would say if you're interested in any way in the movie based off who's in it, definitely give it a shout, because I think there's some stuff to take away from it. However, for me, I'm just left at like 2.5 stars. A low 2.5 stars for this movie. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it. I would be interested to see a rewatch here, and where I feel like there could be some cult status things happening where that second watch is going to be even better and on repeat viewings as well. Some of the kills are definitely something fun to watch as well. So, well, that's my quick thoughts, takes, and opinions on this movie. My name is Adam of Almost Sideways. I really liked discussing this film with you, so make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you also did as well. And check out this other film review here. You might enjoy that one. Until next time, we'll see you later.